Yeah.
Maybe we're actually contributing to waste because we're making it so, there's not a thought process when you hit print because there's no.
Tell me about the rollout. How did you decide what you needed to communicate all of this to other folks?
I think we rolled it out in the fall before an academic year, so.
How did you roll it out?
Trying to think of.
Did you prepare any
in the
materials?
library. It started in the library.
You made a presentation?
No, there was.
Materials?
Students through the library.
Okay.
So it's really started as students that are using the library.
Anything else? Anybody else? Any other things that you would do that if you're going to create a sustainability initiative in your organization and move it forward? Anything we've missed that we probably should be considered? Now we're in this meeting with the CEO. We're talking. Here's some of the things we got to think about. Anything we've missed?
You would begin with an audit of what are the opportunities and how are we using our resources, and I think that would be one example of one item that was identified to address. So you would begin with an audit.
An audit, some sort of an assessment up front of, okay, where do we stand? What are our opportunities? Where do we need to put our resources? Prioritizing and so forth. Yeah, that's absolutely right. What else? Anything else? Other ideas? If you're going to roll this out in your own organization, have we listed everything that you could possibly think of? Well, let's look at. Yeah.
I was just going to say goals. I don't know whether
Goals,
I heard
setting some
someone
goals.
say, where do you want to be 10 years from now? Because
Yeah.
I think it is a long haul and a long process.
Right.
So at least in my experience, it can be pretty defeating if you're short-sighted. So trying to identify, okay, 10 years from now, where do we want to be?
Right.
And let's take small steps to get there. So identifying your goals.
Well, in the book, I lay out a process which is pretty much what we followed at Baxter, what many other companies follow, that deals with this. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But I want to also chat with you quickly about this issue. We're in tough times. I mean, we're coming out of tough times. It was even grimmer some months ago. Now you're in the organization, you're at the CEO meeting, we've talked about, some of the things we should do, but then the CEO says, but wait a minute, we're in sort of a cost-cutting mode. We've got our customers looking at us, we got our investors looking at us, they expect us to trim our costs, the profitability isn't what it used to be. Is this really the time to be rolling out a sustainability program? What do you say to that?
Actually, I can speak to that with some good experience. There is cost savings. So the payback that you can take, you can find that low-hanging fruit where there is a payback and maybe you start. And I sit in this class knowing that, and Deb can relate to this, 4 years ago, this classroom would have been probably 58 to 60 degrees on a day like today. We replaced all the windows, very expensive, redid the central fan. The investment was about $600,000, but being able to look at the 10-year payback and reducing energy waste, but then also cost reduction.
Does every every possible sustainability initiative have payback?
No.
What do you think? No?
Well, in what way? Maybe not.
Financial payback, yeah. No? So you're saying to me, look, okay, the sustainability, and what about those things that don't have financial payback? We're in tough times, and you're saying, look, there's one thing, sure, I can go with waste reduction if it's going to save me money, but there may be some waste reductions where I don't really save money. It's more expensive than not. And there's certain other things in sustainability that you've told me, because we now understand what this concept is, that I see that maybe are going to cost us some money. So what do we do? This is tough times. What are we going to do with this? What do you think?
I'd say it reflects well in leadership if they institute initiatives that are geared towards sustainability, even if they look like they may be more expensive than the alternative. I think it just shows that the company that all the stakeholders are involved with have a greater sense of responsibility at the leadership level. So it and it inspires them to be more motivated and increase morale, things like that. I mean, that's just a part of it, but I think there are ways to find value in that kind of investment beyond just the bottom line.
Let me be the devil's advocate. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but let me be the devil's advocate. I'm the CEO, and I say to you, well, that's all well and good, but, you know, my investors are on my case. Our profitability is way down, and I don't want to send a message out to all my employees that we should be doing these kinds of things, because what we need to be finding is all these things that are going to cut costs and improve our sales and all of that. So, and you say to me,
well, that they have to get on board regardless, because in the future, in the near future, then they'll be left behind by companies that are moving in that direction, and they're just going to become an antique. So it's, in any way you look at it, it's still a long-term benefit.
so you're telling me, what you're really saying to me, I guess, is, sure, Bill, that may be true. Maybe this isn't going to help us short term and keep those costs down, but if we're going to stay in business for the longer term, if we're going to be profitable in the longer term, we've got to think a little bit longer term, and that means maybe sacrificing a little today, even though we're hurting some. Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, partly. I mean, it has branding implications too, among other things.
So you're saying there are some things we can do that will actually help us maybe strengthen our brand, sell more product.
Right, exactly.
So we've got this bucket of things over here that may strengthen our brand, help us reduce cost, and so forth. And then we've got these things over here that are, you know, maybe within the realm of sustainability that we talked about, but go backwards here. But not necessarily going to cater to some of those concerns. Maybe it's more of a philanthropic thing, let's say. Those are the over here. Then we got some stuff that are real business things over here. So you're the CEO. What do you do in this? And you're the leader of the sustainability effort. What do you do in terms of directing the focus? What do you do, Carol?
Well, I would think that you can start out with the things that will save you money and roll things out, and then when the economy gets better, then you can do the things that may not have financial gain.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's not a bad idea, right? We get some support for things. We get people buying into it. We get people saying, hey, there is a business connection. And there is a business connection. This is started with a little slide here on what are the key things. One is the financial viability of the organization. You don't have an organization. You don't have employees. You don't have employees. Where are they? They're out in the unemployment line. They're scraping by. Their life is not better, right? The whole social aspect of sustainability is not served by dismissing, you know, thousands and thousands of people. Sometimes it's needed, but financial viability of the organization is one of the key sustainability things. And of course, we talked about, you know, taking advantage of these opportunities to reduce waste. Employee relations. One of the things you see in downturns is that, you know, there's all kinds of reorganization of facilities and operations, and we've had cuts, and people are now reporting to other people, and so in those times, there's always great turmoil. People become uncertain, become anxious. They're not necessarily focusing on their job. The productivity tends to tank. So one thing that's important, and an opportunity at times like this, is to focus on those sustainability aspects that help build and strengthen employee relations, more communication, more engagement, that sort of thing. Safety is another area, also suffers during downturns, so for a lot of the same reasons. People aren't paying attention, they're thinking about other things, they're trying to take shortcuts, the staff is reduced, they're trying to get more done with less, and so people get injured. And that creates problems and lack of productivity and a whole host of costs